It's the first time I'm showing the work of Johannesburg, primarily Johannesburg at night, and outside my hometown, outside Johannesburg itself. So it's really fabulous to be in a world city. I'm very interested in cities in transition, where there's a lot of change, and the entire world is a change. And somehow when I work at night, it reveals layers of change, layers of landscape, maybe light that we don't see by day, so nocturnal time is my playtime. I mean, I come just a little bit of background from old medium and large format cameras. I always used a Lino but always old second-hand machines and just hand light meter. So it was always about using very little shooting, but very carefully controlled, very carefully light measuring. And then when I moved into digital, it gave me the freedom to start doing very large panoramic work by stitching images together. So I remain with the same method of using a manual focus, manual exposure, and taking time, taking decisions, thinking quite a lot before I shoot. It's not always easy to get access. So when I go to a location, it's very important that I can't make mistakes. The access is often once only. So when I do a range of images, I kind of compose the field of the view in my head. And then I pan with a tripod and move across the surface. I only use two lenses, a long 100mm or a short shift lens, a gear lens that's traditionally for architecture. And I think that for me the composite image is a little bit of the same way that our minds work. So we see a wide periphery, we are aware of everything around, but we zoom in on details. And using a long lens is very much like that experience of perception. Seeing a detail, seeing a light, seeing a car moving, seeing one person around a corner, and then focusing in, but at the same time being aware of everything around, all the periphery stuff. This double-decker highway is a kind of dividing line, I suppose, to a certain extent, and it's an old industrial part which is behind the image, which is called Newtown. Flour mills, roofs, industry, and bearing in mind that the city is based on gold, and in fact no river, no mountain, but the fact that there's a triangle below ground where there was no gold. They said you can build a city. So I climbed a flour mill, and you can see the ladder of the flour mill sticking out in the image. So it's about 18 stories, pitch dark, incredibly beautiful space, no light at all. Halfway up you just hear sounds around, and the doves are flying that used to live in the silo. And when you get to the top through the darkness, you suddenly have this kaleidoscope of endless color. Nighttime has a way of just playing with color, and I think a lot of the color that's in the images really appears in this one, because you have the sodium orange of the highway, you have the buildings in the background, bits of blue and red on the bridge, and fluorescence below the ground where people are working, and then a halide in a security, this bluish color. So it's kind of like a paintbrush, kaleidoscope of different colors that comes out of light temperature. And then there's this very strange little detail which I only found in the files. It's an hour-long shoot, and it's about 10 days of composition to put it together digitally. I don't alter anything. The material is as it's found. It's just the highest resolution that I can get. But there was suddenly a detail showing two figures hiding behind a concrete barrier, and cars that are dazed in the bumper-to-bumper traffic, and they had just been hit by a mugging where someone breaks the car window and then hides behind the barrier. I saw police checking the two guys, but I didn't see the event happening. So the next day I found the image on my files, and I think for me it's about that kind of story of a city of wealth and poverty, people who do what they do because they don't have food. It's not judging, it's simply a question of an event that happens. But it's stretching the time of the photograph across 1 hour shoot time and stretching it to about 10 days to make it work as an image. I think that's, for me, is part of why the image has to be large.